As a trauma therapist of African descent, I've come to realize how that we normalized trauma, we normalized childhood trauma and the devastating effects it has on an individual's life as they grow older. As a survivor of trauma as well, I see that many people are still trapped in the trauma they had as a child and would never know until they get help, until somebody talks to them. And that's why I felt it was going to be a great thing to have this documented somewhere. So I have my story written and how the healing journey began. My healing journey began, the effects, and how people can actually begin their own healing journey from adverse childhood experiences.
Okay, I mean, this is the story. She reached out and she said, let's do this book together. I felt at that point that she needed to be able to express not just what she went through, and the truth is she didn't say much about the details, but I wanted her to be able to express the healing journey, you know. But she said, hey, you had a part to play, and I just want you to let others know how to do it. My contribution to the book is to help you know how to work with someone who is going through trauma. I've zeroed in on simply my experience with her over the last 22 years, you know, and you would be excited to see every bit of our contributions to one another's journey. One of the parts that you would be excited to see in this book is to know that you can't coach someone out of trauma. You know, you walk and love them to bliss, and that's one of the most exciting discoveries for me, journeying through the walk to healing.
So, A Walk to Healing is a book for everyone, if you ask me, because in the book are signs that someone you love is being traumatized or has been traumatized. So, if you say, oh no, I don't think I had any childhood trauma, then you may want to read the book for the sake of someone you love, right? To know the signs and how to help them. And I mean, I was very excited when my husband agreed to put in his own experiences working with me and how he helped me and how we've graduated our friendship to being married and all of that. So it's for everyone who wants to know what childhood trauma is, who wants to know what the signs are, who wants to know how to help someone who's been through childhood trauma, or who just simply wants to know how to heal from their own childhood trauma.
Okay, first of all, this book is not about marriage, and it's not about letting you know how to navigate walking through the journey with someone who's gone through trauma onto marriage. Now, we are privileged for our journey to have gone that way. But you see, the fact that she's been through what she's been through didn't stop me from loving, didn't stop me from wanting to still spend the rest of my life with her. You know, and you see, what she went through and how she healed through it shaped a beautiful woman, shaped something better than what was in her past. So you would be blessed reading this, I must say.
So basically you're going to read about my story, although the story of the abuse wasn't as elaborate as the story of the healing. The book is really about healing. So you're going to read more about the healing, about how you could miss it, you could miss the signs, and how you could begin to pick the signs and heal through it. My abuse happened over 20, 30 years ago, and growing older, you begin to really come face to face with how that has impacted you. And that's why this book is very critical to self-healing and knowing when to seek help when you have to. These are the highlights of my healing, and this were his first words to me. I could never forget his words to me. God still loves you despite the abuse. You were loved over, above, and beyond the abuse. I guess those words cut deep. It certainly changed my perspective about who I am, because trauma would affect the core of your essence. It would affect your sense of self, your perception. But somehow I began to see how that I'm more than I think I am and how I'm deeply loved. I guess it turned everything around for me.
Okay, let me read something to you from my contributions to the book. When our journey started, I didn't think it would be such an intensive life journey as it turned out to be. I loved her as my friend. At some point, there was some chemistry between us, but I thought it was just born out of immense personal information I had about her. And you see, this was maybe one of the most difficult parts, for me journeying with her through healing. But you see a lot of details on how to navigate such things in the book. You see details on how to handle trust, for instance, in the book. And you see details on how to position yourself as a friend, a sibling, a brother, a sister, a parent, a guardian of someone who has gone through trauma. Okay, so for me, it felt exciting finding out you had made up your mind to write the book. Because I remember the first time you were going to put out your story was sometime 2005 or so, in a tiny pamphlet, 2-page pamphlet. But I've seen the difference. The journey had been from just knowing I had gone through this and I can be healed, to now looking in retrospect and saying, yes, I found healing and it's been a healing work. I mean, looking at your contributions to the body of work, especially in terms of trauma, it felt like a privilege to contribute my own bit to this material.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for choosing to also contribute to the book. And so the first time I read your contribution, it was very exciting for me as well, because I mean, for the first time I saw how you felt the first time you saw me when you got back to church. And writing that you thought I was boisterous, I was responsible and talented. I mean, I don't know why, but thinking about it right now, I'm glad that you felt that way when you saw me, right? And I think that what stood out for me was how you knew there was something more than just, the vivacious girl who's just everywhere. It was exciting to know that somebody saw beyond and behind the facade. And I think that it pushed me to want to talk to you. And just sitting down there, listening to all I had to say without judgment, without accusing me of anything like the previous person did, it just melted my heart and gave me a safe space, right? And I think that was it for me. It was how it all began. Just having someone sit down, listen, understood, with no judgment, and giving me words that gave me hope. I think that was brilliant.
Lai has written a good book. I'm privileged to contribute to it. She's not simply survived, she's thrived and done everything in our ability to ensure other people thrive through trauma. So I must say that I would expect more from her in the coming days. There's so much locked up that I'm grateful to God we're seeing them, show forth right now. And I just see many more books, maybe a sequel to this somewhere in the days to come.
Everyone who's been through trauma would need a strong support, a community, someone who stands by them as they go through the hardship of healing. I think my word to the contributor to this book, who's also my husband, is to say thank you for being a great support. Thank you for being that friend I'd never be able to replace. Thank you for being there where before the healing began, when I was still struggling. Thank you for being there now that the healing has begun and is ongoing. Thank you.